We've got some
Hey, I'm Luis.
And I'm FONZI.
And you're listening to the Content is Profit podcast,
where we talk about entrepreneurship, mindset, and of course, how to turn your content into profit.
Go to contentsprofit.com to get started today and join the community. Let's go, guys.
Oh, yeah. You forgot
Baby.
the cha-ching. There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
There
Guys,
we go.
today we're talking about the role of content on a funded tech startup. And not just
baby.
a funded tech startup. This tech startup was...
The.
It is like one of the founders. I don't know if it's the main founder or like a co-founder. Is the guy that co-founded Square. So, yeah, this is pretty
Baby.
big. But even more importantly, today's guest is like the marketing director. And she is a total badass. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen today.
I know. I've been pretty obsessed a little bit with this topic. We've been like in Bootstrap Nation for a bunch of years.
I know.
So I'm very interested for this conversation for many reasons. But I've been consuming a lot of content and to see what happens on that side of the world.
Yeah.
But
I
before
like
that,
how you called it Bootstrap Nation.
Bootstrap Nation, baby.
Yeah.
That should be the name of the sixth show that we're talking about. Anyways, FONZI, do we have a sponsor today? Tell me.
Indeed, we do. Thank you for asking, good sir. If you are looking to multi-purpose your content and build a six-figure platform that connects you with your dream network, we are here to help you out. Please slide in the DMs at BIZBROS on Facebook, on Instagram.
That's right. Before I tell you where you can listen to the show, FONZI, I gotta fact check you, my man.
What is it? Tell
Square
me.
is now called Block.
Is it? Really?
Yes, bro. Come on, do your
Wow,
homework. I'm
look at that.
just gonna be wink, wink to our guest right here behind. Anyways, you can follow the show in your favorite podcasting platform and on social media at BIZBROS for all those golden boulders that we're dropping every single day. And FONZI, your turn, man. Come on. I thought you were 100% ready.
That is right, guys. And if today's guest help you move one step forward to your goal, please don't forget to share this episode with 3 friends. That is your ticket of admission and leave a 5-star review. I'm just gonna say this before we keep going. You need to improve on those transitions.
I thought you said you were 100% ready, so I'm throwing you curveballs, man.
All right, let's do it.
Anyways, we are back for another round 2. This time with a good friend that came back on episode that came for the first time in episode 141. If you haven't heard that episode yet, you know what to do right after this one.
That is right. Today's guest is not only an impressive marketer, but she is a fellow Venezuelan.
Let's go.
It's your turn.
Oh, okay. See? She's the host of the Yet Fan podcast, traveled to over 41 countries, worked for Gary Vee, and now she's the marketing director at the tech startup Invisibly.
Let's do this, guys. Please welcome the Venezuelan marketing queen herself, Andrea Tagliaferro. What's up, Andrea?
Hi, guys. Thank you guys for bringing me back. For those of you listening, as you heard, there were like almost 100 episodes between my first time here and my second one. So it was tight for me to squeeze back into their calendar. So thank you so much for that.
No, thank you, Andrea. And just for the sake of the listeners, so they can understand in time, what does that mean? 100 episodes. It's actually almost an entire year, because last time we talked to you, you were just starting your role at Invisibly. And today you were like, I'm celebrating my 1 year at Invisibly. So congrats, Andrea. That is absolutely amazing. You totally deserve it.
Thank you. It was actually really exciting after being a year yesterday at the company. With all the uncertainties happening last year, I'm sure more than one of you listening suffered from shifts and some changes during the pandemic. And I was not... I didn't escape that. So landing this job still in the pandemic in December last year, and now successfully being here for a full year and still loving it. So it's I was really excited to celebrate
That's
yesterday.
awesome. That's what it's all about. And I have a quick question. Are you still in New York, or did you move for this job?
This is now an Airbnb that you see in the background. No, I've actually embraced that we are able to work fully remote at this tech startup called Invisibly. So I'm in San Francisco right now, trying out the West Coast, and soon I'll be in San Diego. So any friends in San Diego, just, comment.
Yeah, let's go. Put it right there.
What's the verdict? Do you like it out in the West Side?
So I do like the West Coast. It's really been hard, and I didn't think it would be, that everybody has started the day before. So the moment I wake up, I start my days now at 7:30 on the computer. And I always feel I'm playing catch up because we do have people that are helping us that are based in India and other people in Europe. So I'm already reading their stuff before they're going to bed. So different feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, it's an advantage, right? That now that we can really work everywhere, but I remember the first time that we had the conversation, you were talking about your spreadsheets and how you do your ideas and how you do this, right? So I'm very curious. Maybe we can explore that down the road, but people can go to 141. It's a masterclass really on how to do this. And, it served to FONZI's, obsession over categorizing ideas and content. And we're going through the 45 live challenge there with about 100 people, and it did help a ton. So thank you for that. You have the doors open to Florida, so come visit. I think East Coast, maybe you'll be ahead of a bunch of people. So I'm just gonna put that out there. Value add. Let's go.
I know. I know how you feel, because a few months ago I was in Utah, and I would wake up, and at 7 I would start working, and it was 9 already in here. So the team, everybody was already getting to work, and I was like, man, I usually wake up and try to squeeze in a few hours so I can take advantage of the day, and now it's so challenging over there.
Yeah. Especially if you're one of those people that like waking up early before everybody does to get like your me time and your productivity at your own rhythm, and then jump into the crowd. Right now we're just like putting out fires the moment you wake up. So and then I have my me time like at 4.
Andrea, I think that's a great point to start this, right? I know FONZI has a couple questions on the tech side of things, but a lot of the people that we talk to, that we interact every single day, are people that might have, a full-time gig. They're transitioning to do what we mentioned in the intro, like Bootstrap Nation, right? They're transitioning to do their own thing, and they're planning their own resources and time management and team management, right? So through this whole fully remote thing, I think we dove into the hiring process for our own company, and it's been completely remote. So, for that side of things this last year, that's, it comes natural, I guess, because that's how we started really. So all the processes and all the stuff are built for that. Now, like, what would you say the big difference is for what you've experienced in the companies that you worked before, who maybe are semi-remote, but now fully remote? And how do you adapt your own day for productivity?
I think the same as you guys. Before I was with Gary, I was working by myself. So I was at home all the time. And I was also working with in an industry that's yachting. The majority of the people in yachting are in Monaco. I was based in Florida. So I had to bridge. Sorry, give me a second.
No worries. I'm just going to add, we need to move to the yachting industry so we can just go to Monaco. I mean, that's it. You just said this. I'm like, we're in the wrong market.
So, I always had to bridge the gap of staying connected to them, even though I would only see them maybe once or twice a year, and keep those relationships really warm, really, really connected. So, because as we know, the world, it is all about social networking. It's not only about doing your best. We can't work in silos, and we work better as a team, and we just get definitely farther. When it comes to how I did work in person, because when I worked with Gary, it was definitely a full-time in person, going to the office. I think maybe 2 days out of the whole time I was there, I worked from home. It's very, very different. There's a big luxury of just glancing to the right to see your partner and like just share an idea, and you forget how easy and spontaneous that is, and bottling that up into just Zoom, it's really, really hard. So what I have come to do, and my boss is just like an amazing communicator, is that we schedule like predetermined schedules for one-on-ones. They're not like in-depth check-ins. They're just so often that you feel that you're allowed to say those things that are not like super serious, that you had to schedule and you'll not forget, but you can also get away with saying more casual things. But that was a little bit of a learning curve, because I would realize on Monday, I hadn't asked how my boss weekend was until like 4 p.m. because we had just jumped from like that line to that line to that line. So that like getting into the office, getting your coffee, saying hi to your favorite coworker, we always have a favorite buddy, would be absent. And it's really hard, and you just have to really stay on top to schedule time to interact with people. It sounds horrible because it takes all the fun and looseness of it, but you just don't want to lose those connections.
Yeah.
And it's very easy for something to get lost in translation when it comes to communications. If I have my Zoom camera off, am I actually there? Is the person not there? Is it just because they're having a bad hair day? Or can I actually count on them when I'm slacking at them? So those things are easily misinterpreted. So you have to over communicate, which is not actually my nature. So it has to have been something that I had to like make myself do.
Wow, that's super interesting. Just so you know, my brothers always have a bad hair day.
Always. That's why I keep it short.
But I love that. I love that aspect of communication. I think is extremely important for any team. So I'm curious, you know, for that person listening right now that might have a team or might have some people that they're working with and they might want to propose this, right? How does that look like, right? On what basis do you guys meet on a one-on-one? Is it like a little bit every day, or how do you guys do it?
So, for example, with my boss, I see her more than once a week. Obviously, we see each other maybe, 5 times a day. But schedule a standing, I would do one in the middle of the day just so you can blurt out anything that gets covered on when it comes to like big projects, and it's still very business oriented. But at the end, every Friday, if possible, or like Thursday, because sometimes your employees want to take off Friday, make sure to check with your team on this is the time you can get away with murder. Say whatever it is, give me all the feedback, anything that needs to be improved, because this has happened to me, especially at a tech startup. We're running fast all the time, that the person that isn't used to like raising their hand and pushing their ideas forward may get lost in the shuffle. And we don't want that to happen to you, even though we're like smiling and being nice to you.
Yeah.
You may, as an introvert, have to even break more ground. So it's easier. It would be the manager's position to be like, I remember that you need a little bit more of a helping hand to actually say what you want to say, because being an introvert doesn't mean you don't have good ideas.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love it. Bringing it to in our side of the world, right? With content and content teams, right? You see.
You mean the East Coast?
Well, that too. I mean, all over. Wow, FONZI. But you see a lot of people, hiring remote team members, right? It's not just one person now. It's maybe multiple team members, right, in their content teams just for TikTok. Maybe 3 editors. Like, who knows, right? Like, whatever the side of your team and your framework is, but that communication is super important, right? And we've learned through. Same thing with us. We've been able to build containers with the communication with the people that we work with, right? Because we bring them the fractional team, so there has to be a bridge in there of how do we translate those ideas of the creator into the pieces of content that go out? Like, how do we translate the stories that we talked about last time, right? How do we translate those things into the visual aspect, and then how do we receive feedback? So those containers had to be in place. So for those listening, right, if you're planning on building this, right, if you're past the phase of doing it yourself, make sure that we mix a little bit of what Andrea was saying, and those check-ins with your team, with your people, receiving feedback, giving feedback, because nowadays with the interaction that happens online is immediate, right? So we have to be doing that. Something that you received on Monday, maybe on Friday, it might be obsolete, and then you have to like completely change the course. So don't wait till the end, and make sure that you have those in your calendar. So I think that was super useful. Thank you so much, Andrea, for that feedback.
Andrea. Actually, TikTok is a great example. For our TikTok at Get Invisibly,
yes,
we do it in a team. Like, we have someone we all try to brainstorm. Anyone can pitch in an idea, but after you have an idea, it has to be a concrete idea. Okay, that's awesome. We're dancing. What dance? What is the link to that trend? What are the best ones doing it? Why isn't it being picked up? So the spreadsheet goes into that brainstorming almost instantly. But then this person gave us the trends. This one's better at song. And then the other one's actually the one that does the best script writing. So everything is just shared on a drive, and everybody just can collaborate whenever it is. We all are grown-ups. We all know that brainstorming happens this day. It needs to be executed, even if you don't have a good hair day, this day, and then published. You laugh, but believe me, the days I have to be, I'm like, oh my God, I'm washing my hair today, because this is all you see of me now.
That's funny. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, taking responsibility is a huge factor, especially in remote working and with your teams, right? Because if you are not doing your task, then you might be holding back the rest of the team. So extremely important.
By the way, I just want to put a quick parenthesis here. Every link that we put and we mention in there is going to be right on the notes. So all you got to do is scroll down and click in there. Please go ahead and at Get Invisibly on TikTok. They're crushing it. It's going to be awesome. You're never going to see Andrea on a bad hair day.
Yeah, that's right. If you want to see Andrea dancing, let's go.
Look, because I am a firm believer of A/B testing, there is bad hair data.
Yeah,
There is
let's
glasses
go.
on that. There is anything to see what was actually people at TikTok responded to. I am not fearful to like see what people, you know what, if this is what they respond to and this is the audience that's on this platform, this is how we have to like pivot and talk to them, because
Yes.
it's all about social listening.
That's
So
right.
yeah, there's a lot of bad hair days in that.
We just unpacked something really powerful, Andrea. You said it's so casual, right? But this is probably one of the things that we get most friction with creators that are just starting up, right? Is am I looking okay? They're creating all this friction in their heads, and you're like, you know what? Let's remove all that friction. Let's actually go test and see what the market or the audience or the people that are following us telling us. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? Like, how do you was this normal for you guys? How do you go past that, right? And then be comfortable with it.
If you graduate from the Gary V school, you will know that it's not about you. It's about who is listening to you. And if they are talking about this topic today, we can't wait for you to get yourself together and now join the conversation. The conversation left you. So if you want to start, there's something, it's so rare when something is trending that it's trending on for every industry, on every moment, which happens a lot on TikTok. So I remember being in a meeting with Gary, and all of a sudden he was filming a documentary. Someone went in, gave him blueberries, and he threw them on his phone because the trend on TikTok was seeing things fall. And then he kept talking to the camera and kept going. It was just like, here you go. This is what we do today. Okay, life goes on. So,
Yeah.
and with a lot of stuff just doesn't work. And what we have done, or what is great, is using Twitter for that. Twitter messages go away in seconds. So there, feel free to throw out any idea that you feel that's so random that you don't want to mess up your pretty Instagram. Instagram for me is like the pretty polished one of all the social media platforms.
Yeah.
So before you actually test something out there, go throw it on IG Reels, Stories, IGTV, and if you actually want to get off the platform, throw it on Twitter. And if TikTok's one of the best ones, because TikTok is for me the one that's just like, because the audience here is so unpredictable that you can get away with like, well, that's what I saw what would happen. It didn't work for me. I'm just gonna delete it if you want to, or not. So it's another one that you can test the boundaries, and you're not really allowed to do that on at least Instagram feed and LinkedIn. You want to still stay very buttoned up and professional.
I love it. I love how every platform, has a specific structure that you can use in there, or a specific goal that you can use it for, right? Of course, you have your platforms where you want the most polished content, right? Those highlights, like you mentioned, right? Kind of like Instagram on your feed. You want to put your highlights in there of what's working. But in a platform just like Twitter, that it moves super quick, right? And you can just put ideas out there like crazy. You can actually see which one is going to cut more people attention. Now, before we keep diving into content, I love this, but I want to give the audience a little bit of context on what is Invisibly, right? Like, what do you guys do? Like, what's the company about? What is the product that you guys are putting out into the market? Because I think that will help people not just get some context, right? But understand where the content marketing is coming from.
Yeah, great point. I should have led with that one, but yes.
No worries.
So
That was our fault.
So marketing director at Invisibly. So Invisibly is a tech startup. The idea is that Invisibly is a smart, gives you a smart algorithm that is designed for people. So it's a people first platform. It's the only other platform where you go in, and after you tune your algorithm, you're the one that owns it. We know that big tech, when you actually like and dislike comments on your feed, yes, it starts generating stuff that it's tuned for you and it personalizes to you, but it's actually owned by them. Here, we actually give you the tools to go back into your profile and tune it to your liking. And also, we actually pay you for tuning your algorithm, because the more you tune your algorithm, the smarter it gets. We optimize what we should be actually sharing on our platform. So you should be rewarded for that effort and for actually helping us making something smarter. A great example is for Netflix. I'm sure almost everybody here has a Netflix account, but isn't it amazing that you go into you or your partner's Netflix and you get completely different things that are either trending or suggested to you? I would never know there's comedy on Netflix if it wasn't for my boyfriend, because I don't really watch comedy, comedy shows, not comedy movies. So they're one of the best algorithms to know if you saw a video, for how long did you see it? Did you pause during the video? Did you take a picture during the video? Did you go back to actually rewatch a scene or not? And we also get fed. That's for how the content you actually enjoyed and interacted with it. You could also like, dislike, save. But also the thumbnail that is shared to you to pitch you the movie is going to be very different. They're going to know that I am a Latina, I live here, my age is this, therefore I'm going to gravitate more to, for example, I loved the 90s Grey's Anatomy. So if any of the cast in Grey's Anatomy does another show, they're going to be the ones in the main thumbnail, even if they're not the main character.
Wow.
So they know a great deal about us, but that's making money for Netflix to produce the original content. On Invisibly, we're actually paying you for your efforts to making us a smarter company as well. So we're actually allowing you to join the data economy and have a transaction into this data marketplace.
Wow.
So awesome.
So that's what we do.
That's amazing. All right. So I do have quite a few follow-up questions right now before we keep diving into content, if that's okay.
I just want to say that I need a squeegee. Like my brains are all over the wall right now.
You
I'm
had
what?
you had like 100 episodes without saying that joke.
I know. I mean, this is how good that was. I mean, look at. Yeah. Anyways, 1,000 questions. The thumbnail thing was crazy to me. I had no idea about that thing, and obviously.
So there is a TikTok video of Netflix where I actually unpacked that specific algorithm. So I made that one recently, but I didn't answer your full question. And what do? It's a feed where you go in and you can cater it to tune your algorithm so it shows you what you want to see. We're focused on right now on news, articles, and recipes. It's not a social media network, so don't think of us as like the next Facebook or Instagram. Here you're not actually socializing with other peers and other followers, but you do get to tune your algorithm, get paid for it, and get the content you didn't know you wanted. You can also earn points and cash out, or you can actually reinvest the money as points and use it on the platform as well.
This is so cool, right? Like, and I feel like over the last 2 years, like it has been a lot of people have been inundated by the fact that, you know, the topics of like, well, we're big media, big tech, whatever is controlling what we see and this thing. And, you know, maybe they might be suggesting a couple news or a couple articles that we might not really agree, but then because we see them every single day, top of funnel, you know, top awareness. And it's like, then we end up, you know, consuming that kind of things that we don't really want to. And then it affects our daily lives in a way that we don't really want that. So I think what you guys are bringing to market is incredible. I cannot wait to go in and explore, because it's bringing the power back to really what you want to do. And you know, and I think
it's exactly that. You actually stole the line from Jim McKelvey. It's bringing back the power of data to you.
Love it.
I love that. All right. So these are my follow-up questions. I have one that, you know, again, it comes from a place of love, but I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. You know, I think one of the issues with social media and, you know, their algorithms, and again, we know Invisibly is not a social media, but is the fact that they feed you stuff that is going to reinforce your beliefs, right? And I think a big issue in there is that it literally like polarizes opinions so much that then you have a big conflict happening, right? I mean, we see it nowadays. Like, you just get extremes on opinions, and it's because every day you're just like consistently feeding yourself the same type of information, the same type of opinions, right? So what happens on a feed like this that I can craft, obviously, for my own likes, right? Of course, like I do enjoy certain things. What would be the specific use in here for the user, right? Because again, it's not a social media, so I'm not going to go and interact and like share my voice on certain things.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of context. I love that question, by the way. Give me any devil's advocate once, because I got the answer. You may have seen this very popular show that movie documentary by Netflix called The Social Dilemma. If you didn't, we also have the clip notes for you on a blog post about the social dilemma. And for that reason, I know that one of the ways social media platforms, what they want to do is to have you engage and keep scrolling endlessly on their platforms. The more you scroll, the more chances you dislike something, you feed their algorithm, you make them smarter. Therefore, they can sell your data, give it to a data marketer so they can target you and feed you what they know that you might like, but doesn't mean that you actually are condoning or consenting to actually be fed that, right?
Yeah.
Sort of where you were going.
Yeah.
Another thing that you mentioned was another way to keep you scrolling is that they don't send you things that would contradict your beliefs. So if you're you think very to the right or very to the left, they're going to keep feeding you stuff that's really to the right. So you continue to think this is the only world out there and you just stay on their platform. That's their benefit. What do we do differently? Have you ever wanted to tell Google or any other platform, yes, at some point I like this and you kept feeding me this, but now, you know what? I don't want to like this anymore. I am a grown up. I want to break the cycle and I want to actually start learning something different, right?
Yep.
There's no way for you to go into your algorithm and say like, yes, you got that. You're very smart, but I actually want this to be on my feed now. Now we actually offer that.
Ooh,
you can
nice.
definitely tune your algorithm so you actually get fed what you want to discover, not what it knows about you. I don't know if you've ever done this, but if the three of us actually right now Google, for example, Egypt, or because I like traveling, will probably get fed a lot of like tours and discounts and how to get the best, how to get there better and how to enjoy it the most.
Yeah.
But someone else may start seeing what is their political regime, what's actually happening there. Another one may be seeing is like tech news coming from Egypt. We just Googled the exact same word and the three of us fed completely different information. Yeah. So that's that's the biggest difference. We allow you to go in.
I love that.
The algorithm.
I think that is absolutely amazing. Sorry, I know you were about to say something, but you know how there's this saying that you're like, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are. I think the new saying is like, show me your social media feed and I'll tell you who you are. You know, it's like easy. It's easy.
Scary.
Yeah, it's kind of scary.
It's very scary.
So I loved what you said, right? And I think that requires a level of awareness from the user to say, I am so biased to certain opinions. I need to start exploring other opinions as well. Is there some sort of notice inside of, what you guys are building where it tells you like, hey, maybe I noticed you have been leaning a little bit towards too much traveling. You might want to learn a little bit about, settling down, for example.
So let's think of how you asked that question. You put your opinion on what they're searching for could actually be improved or it's actually bad. So it's when it's now controlled by a smart algorithm and actually it's machine learning, we don't have human bias to actually move the needle. Because in what you're saying comes from probably a good person thinking, oh, maybe you should expand your horizon. Yeah. There's other stuff that you didn't know. Okay, yeah, that's like a good person that made the code of the machine learning in a positive way. What if we allowed the same person to do something in a negative way? True. So we have to eliminate the bias so we don't suggest stuff.
Yeah,
so
I love it.
One of them. But how do you become aware? I really like that question. The Netflix social media dilemma, because of its popularity and how it was wonderfully filmed, brought a lot of awareness to a lot of people that didn't know. I know at least the three of us here being digital marketers and knowing exactly how the algorithms work, or not exactly, but have a very good idea of them, would be surprised when someone tells you, oh yeah, I was looking for bathing shorts on Instagram, and all of a sudden Facebook knew that I was looking for it. I was like, yeah, they're connected. You actually consented to data, so they actually fed it to each other to see where they caught you and where you would shop. So this was like, you did this on purpose, but you didn't know you were doing it. Yeah. So for those that haven't discovered films like The Social Dilemma, we have focused our blog to educating people on what was data, what is a data subject, what is a data income. So there's a lot of small nuggets that when you want to start educating yourself, you can't even read half a paragraph because there's a lot of terms that you never really stumble yourself to actually think what they were. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do with our blog, to help people actually understand, and especially understand not only what's happening, but what are their rights? what actually can you do about it? There's a lot of stuff you can do and stuff that you actually consented, for example, on Spotify. You consented to Spotify every time you use their voice recording to listen to that voice recording. You already signed that up, but there's stuff that if you actually went to the profile settings, you can actually unswipe, untoggle. So there's little things you can actually do have control over.
Wow, there's so many nuances in what data entails, right? I think people just think it's like, I mean, honestly, my first thought about data is, oh, they're just collecting all my information, right? But there's so many things that go in there, and I think the approach that you guys are getting to, that are actually implementing, which is the education side of things, on a level that non-technical people can actually understand this, I think it's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I think also, sorry, because we've been around these algorithms for so long now, right? A lot of people coming into this world, or people that have been using this for a long time, they accept that as normal, right? I'm doing air quotation, like this is the normal, this is the way that we do things, and we don't really get educated or presented with an opportunity that's different, that could be even that can be a lot better, mentally, right? Like as you're explaining this in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a clean slate of like, if I want to go research a topic, or I want to learn about something without being bombarded by the beliefs or, polarization or something like that. There were a couple of books that I read last year. One is called Hate Inc. I listened to it, is how, big media, TV and stuff, how they started, and then how it became a polarization competition between the topics and the things that they were controlling to attract attention for the ratings, which was insane. And then, Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday, which is another one, you're just laughing. So maybe you have a comment about that. But those two books were like my rabbit hole into this thing. I'm like, okay, I need to start looking at the thing that I'm consuming, at the thing that I'm using very carefully. If I want to move forward. So tell me what happened with Ryan Holiday. I just mentioned that, and you were like, oh my gosh, yes. Or maybe, oh my gosh,
Ryan
no.
Was Ryan Holiday was just one of our clients at VaynerSpeaker, so I was privy to, or taking the luxury to listen to a lot of his stuff, and he's very insightful. I definitely recommend the book you just mentioned, and the other one about growth hacking, especially for what the podcast is all about, for you to understand that it's not only about how people feel and what you think. It's about, if I put this content out there, how many pieces of data can I get out of it to see if I'm hitting the right goals and the right KPIs for my business? Because we all have different goals that we want. That's why we're using social media, and why we're producing a lot of content for it. But yes, definitely, and he's a great writer too.
Wow. I have so much more questions. I know we're not gonna have enough time to go through all of them, so we're gonna have to do a part 3. Just throwing that out there. But this is what I would feel people would have in their minds, right? When a platform is not charging you, right? When you're consuming information for free, right? A lot of people are going to say, well, that means you are the product, right? That your data might be sold to somebody else. Example, current social medias. So, you don't pay to use them, and they get to use your data to profit off of that. Now, in your case, you guys are giving money to the people that are using your platform. So my curiosity, is kind of like screaming at me, ask this, right? Like, how are you guys doing that? Like, how are you guys growing as a company, right? Like, how are you guys monetizing your product to the way that you can, the user can get paid as well?
So that's a great question. I do love that you said that. That's a very common thing in tech. If you're not paying for the product, you are the product. Mm-hmm. And you signed off a lot of data collection, not only what data is collected, how it's collected, and how it's used, or if it's collected of a lot of platforms like Facebook and all those. Yes. Common thing that you said, all of these are free. Ours are free as well, right? Differences with them that we are giving you the control of the data. First of all, you can read exactly what happens with your data. You have full control of what if it's sold. If it's not sold, it's actually not sold. You also have the opportunity if you want to, you know what, I shared you my data for a month, I'm done. I don't want, like take it away off your platform. You actually have the option to not only close your account, but actually erase all the data that you have shared. That's another privilege that you get there. How do we monetize, which was your original question there? I can't give you the full secret to the sauce, but I can definitely tell you that, yes, we do have brands that we're partnering with that will appear on the platform, but you can, they are served to people that have wanted to be served, that are interested in certain things. So instead of you being bombarded by something, you have actually selected and consented and actually are wanting this, because we actually did a lot of surveys. And I think I also started from the notion that people hate being targeted online with ads. And honestly, people didn't when we looked it up, because it made their life easier. And a lot of people, because they knew they were being targeted, they used that for research. I had a coworker that said, every time I'm looking for something, I press like buy clothes on Instagram and just wait for all the ads to come to me. So
yes,
I thought that was really smart. And people like that. People actually like personal algorithms because it's sort of something that we have evolved to. And now what we expect. Aren't you like tired when you go into the app and after like 2 minutes, you're like, oh, this isn't showing me what I want? You not know me already. It's just like, so we got used to that, like the very high-end service of people knowing what to tell you and what you actually want and to make your life easier.
I love it.
It's not all bad.
Yeah, it's like a consent-based platform, which I absolutely love, because like you said, and I've noticed that on my own activity in social media, I like being served some ads, right? Like I love, obviously this is coming from a marketer, right? So of course I'm like, ooh, let me analyze this ad right here. But like you said,
screenshot.
Exactly. Like it does make people's life easier if they're searching for specific things. Yeah. And it's funny because when Apple rolled this new iOS update that they started asking, do you want to allow this app to track your thing? I was like,
we were like, yes.
Yeah, I was like, sure, like track everything I do, like serve me all the ads, right?
We need the ads.
Yeah. So, I mean, I understand obviously the concern for privacy, but I do find it annoying when I get served ads that are totally irrelevant to my interest. So I do and really like the sense that you guys are like, hey, do you want to be served this? Yes, absolutely. And then that's probably when you guys are doing your deals with the other brands on the other side that are, promoting your platform. So that is absolutely amazing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I mean, part of the reason we ask those questions on this either whatever revenue model, how do we monetize, right? It's a lot of entrepreneurs out there that might not have access to a model to follow, right? To get started. And that's one of the friction points when you get started. It's like, okay, how do I actually, if you're on a service side of things, right? How do I actually, charge for this service? How do I do this? How do I do that? So thank you so much for sharing. And there's something that you mentioned there that might have, flown under the radar, but you said like, hey, we conducted a bunch of surveys, right? And it's like, that's something that a lot of people don't do enough of. I feel like, we go out there to the marketplace, we go out there, we present an option, assuming that is the best solution ever, right? Because we're like, we came up with it and this is the thing, right? And it has happened with us multiple times in the last year with the service. It has evolved to the point where it's like, okay, we receive constant feedback from our clients, from the people that we work with, and we try to implement as fast as possible to make sure that we can serve them, right? And what you guys did, right? Asking these people like, what is the thing that you want, right? We have this platform here. How can we serve you the best way possible? And I think that's so important, especially at the beginning stages. We've been jumping on calls over the last 2 weeks of people that have been in our world there's something coming up at the beginning of the year that we're preparing for them, and it's all coming from their feedback, right? And the thing that we assumed we're supposed to like give them was not. So how often do you guys do this? How often do you guys conduct these kind of questions? How do you go about that aspect in your business?
So feedback is great. But as we all know, even us, when we get like, if you fill out this form that you like our shoes and you will participate in a $20 rebate or whatever it is, even that doesn't get us excited enough to actually give you feedback. So it's hard to only gather the data of feedback because it just tends to not be enough. It's also skewed to the people that either really love something or are just complaining about something. You actually get more negatives than positive. I'm not just saying us. You just go to Yelp and just see what happens.
Yeah.
You actually want to, have a very broad net of who are these people. There's a lot of people you're asking about, but they're also already your customers or registered users. You actually want to see who else is out there and discover them, because they may be the same as the person that already found you, but maybe he needs one more extra piece of data to actually become and join your team. So do online surveys. We actually have a product that's a real-time research. The difference between our online service product, which is the B2B part of the company, is that you are free to not only answer it, but it's not actually gating any content. It's so annoying when you jump into a page, and if you don't click on that survey, you actually don't get to see the video you want or read the article you want.
Yeah.
Here, if you actually don't want, you just keep scrolling and you're done. So for that reason, we ended up predicting even the presidential elections of Trump by the best stats in the whole United States, because people were not forced to answer us to get to where they wanted to get. So that transparency, that is actually how Invisibly conducts every task and every project, is what got us a lot of the clean data.
Yeah.
So I would do that, of course, in your beginning stages. Yes, throw to the wall all your hypotheses and assumptions of why you want to do a project. And those are the ones you want to gather up in an online survey. Before you jump into an online survey, please read blogs of how you actually want to phrase those questions. We talked about one of the questions you asked me before, that there was actually already an assumption within your question. So you don't want to be biased. You don't want to be leading the question. Think of Law and Order, leading the leading questions and stuff like that. So even where you conduct your surveys and how you actually redact the questions will lead you to different kinds of data. And if you're already going through the effort, you actually just want the most honest answers, because that's the same thing we do on social media with social listening. We just really want to know what you're doing, what you want from us, and we just adapt to that to make sure that we're not actually throwing away money and creating products that actually are serve no one.
Yeah, this is awesome. The level of transparency that you guys have, and I don't even know how to phrase it, but unbiasedness, I guess, is key to develop a platform that everybody enjoys once they jump in there. Do you have any other question? Because I'm about to do a quick 180 transition in here.
No, don't transition. What's the vision? Where do you guys want to go? What can we expect as users?
So you should be expect the more we grow and the better. The more evolved that our technology gets you, is the more we're going to be able to give back and allow you to control more data and have more data power. So that is the full vision of this, is yes. And we actually started with data earning because it was a way to get people who didn't understand the topic, to get them to understand the data economy and data transactions to understand. But it's really more about control and empowering you to understand what you can do, what are other people doing with your data, and actually what belongs to you. So that is really the mission.
Love it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fascinating. The question that comes to my mind, and I don't know if this is even possible, I don't know if I'm being way too futuristic here, but are you guys planning on doing something with Web3, like blockchain, any sort of that thing with what you guys are building?
Actually, I did hear, I don't even know if this is on the undisclosed, maybe it is, but part of the rewards and points that you will be able to put back into the platform is that you will be able to convert into crypto and to other kinds of currencies.
Wow, so, that's awesome.
Astra is pending.
Yeah, pending. We're going to put a bookmark right there, and we're going to come back next year, and we're going to explore this idea. But
things change all the time, as you know. We're always listening, but it's definitely something that we thought of what should be in the pipeline.
Yeah, of course. Cool. So we got about 6 more minutes, and we went deep into data invisibly, right? What you guys stand for. And I think it was absolutely amazing. But what if we give, a little dessert to people right now? You already shared that you guys are doing a great job at educating people, right? That is part of your mission in the marketing department, is educate people about data. How are you guys doing this at the moment? You mentioned you guys have a TikTok, right? But I'm curious, how does a, well-funded tech startup does marketing? Because I'm curious to compare it to what, bootstrap companies might do.
So I'm gonna answer that in two parts. When it comes to the knowledge, we thought it was a very important thing to do because we're almost like new or only in this industry. So we're embarking on this new industry and technology, and we wanted to be able to, with Jim McKelvey as our founder and being backed by Peter Thiel, we felt it was our responsibility to educate people on this journey. So that's on one thing. On the other hand, how do we do marketing? I'm not going to say it's the same, but it's definitely the same principle as I did when I did marketing for my own on my one-man podcast. That is, first, there's a social media marketing strategy. We ping what is actually important to us with our goals. Where are we sharing those channels? And I'm just going to go in through social media because it's just going to be easier. For example, if I have these 5 categories here, are those 5 categories something that are interested to LinkedIn, Instagram, or Facebook? No, actually, only the first one will be posted on LinkedIn because the other 4 are actually not relevant. So after we have a plan of what we want to do, we listen to where they have to be served. And then we actually start monitoring. We have like a crazy spreadsheet of all the data that we're collecting from impressions, reach, was it played, was it shared, was it saved? And then it's actually just bite the bullet and see what you wanted or what you thought people would react to, don't react to. And I'll tell you one thing that actually people really, really love, and this is my tip here. Surveys on LinkedIn are so underused. They have given us the biggest spikes on impressions because people want to be able to engage with what you're telling them, and just instead of just listening and being your audience, they want to be able to engage. And it's very, very simple. That's why even on Instagram stories, you want to actually ask questions, allow people to give their opinion on what you're actually sharing is very, very valuable. So LinkedIn, I think it's a very important one to anyone listening here. So just invite people to participate.
I love it.
That was
yeah.
Well, the whole episode was a massive golden boulder. Like the whole mountain came down. Yeah, Andrea, thank you so much. It was so awesome. Part 2 was way better than part 1. No, that part 1 was no good. It was incredible as well. But I think like the evolution, right, that we've seen from your story, you also personally, how you've grown and the value that you're providing now, not only for the company but to the world on what you guys are doing. I think it's incredible. It needs to get out. So anything that you guys need, count on us. I think you guys obviously podcasting tour 100%. You guys had to continue to do this. So thank you so much for coming up and breaking it down for us. FONZI is a smart one here, but the dummy over here understanding what this means is incredible. And I think you guys are doing great work. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Before I leave, I want to say thank you so much for the Invisibly team. We are a small team and everybody works extremely together. Communication is insane and everybody has each other's back. That's how you have to do it on a small team. There is no heroes. It's just a team effort. And big shout out to the marketing team. It's only 3 of us with a lot of help with subcontractors. I'm not going to leave you guys out, but definitely a lot of hustle when it comes to tech startups. Thanks, you guys.
I love it. Thank you for doing that. Andrea, before you leave too, like where people can find more about Invisibly and how can they connect with you as well. And what are the next steps for the person that is listening right now and they say, I want to get involved with this?
So the first step you do, you go to invisibly.com and you sign up. You click all the way the button right where it says start now, sign up. That's what you want to do. If you want to get a lot more information, our website is very easy to digest and self-explanatory. If you want to actually learn more about data, we have a blog that we are constantly updating with incredible writers. If you want to reach out to anyone on the team, we're really trying to be almost on every social media platform, and that is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We're highly active on those 5. So if you DM us, you will get a response because it's part of our job. We will respond. If you want to reach out to me, you can. It probably will be one of the people answering, but if you actually want to reach out to me directly, LinkedIn is actually your safest bet. Just DM me, or even if you don't get through the DMs, you may comment on any post that I have, and I will for surely see it. So thank you guys so much for listening to me talk for a full hour.
No, this was absolutely amazing. And I'm going to put this out there, guys. Reach out to her, connect with her on LinkedIn. She does answer actually super fast, and it's also a great connection to have. She's amazing. Yeah. So, Andrea, thank you so much.
No, definitely want to encourage people to get in, get to know the platform, get to know about data, right? Like, we need to educate ourselves. This is a thing that we are a part of every single day, and it has to be. We have to be aware of what's going on out there. So, Andrea, again, thank you so much. With that said, guys, thank you for tuning to the Contents Profit Podcast. Go ahead and follow the show on your favorite platform and on social media at BIZBROS Go.
That is right. And if Andrea here help you understand more about data, please don't forget to share this episode with somebody else and leave a 5-star review. See ya.
Bye, guys.